Welcome to this explainer. It's actually wild when you stop and think about it, how just two simple letters, A and B, silently govern completely different but absolutely crucial parts of our daily lives. I mean, when you smash A and B together, you basically unlock this bizarre kind of multiverse. We're talking about everything from the microscopic biology happening inside your bloodstream right now, to the digital algorithms shaping the internet, all the way to international corporate law and protecting family wealth. It's honestly amazing how much sheer power is packed into just two little letters.
So here's our roadmap for navigating this AB multiverse today. We'll start with AB, the body's defenders, then AB, optimizing the web. After that, AB, structuring Swedish business. Next up, the AB trust and protecting family wealth. And we'll wrap it all up by connecting the whole AB multiverse together. Let's just dive right in. Part 1. AMS, the body's defenders, exploring the immune system's Y-shaped guardians.
For our first stop, we're zooming way, way in, deep inside the human immune system, to check out the antibody. Now, an antibody, which scientists abbreviate as capital A, lowercase b, or sometimes Ig for immunoglobulin, is basically this large Y-shaped protein. And its main gig? To hunt down and neutralize foreign invaders. We call these invaders antigens, and they're usually nasty stuff like bacteria and viruses. The way this actually works is, frankly, a brilliant biological lock and key mechanism. Each of the branching arms on that Y shape has a highly specific region called a paratope. Think of the paratope as a key that's precision engineered to bind to a very specific lock on the antigen, which is called the epitope. By locking onto that exact epitope, the antibody either neutralizes the threat right then and there, like blocking a virus from even entering a cell, or it acts like a giant biological homing beacon, tagging the invader so the rest of your immune system can swoop in and destroy it.
Now, in science and medicine today, there are two main types of antibodies we really care about. First, we've got polyclonal antibodies. These are produced by multiple different B-cell clones, which basically means they can attach to several distinct epitopes on the exact same antigen. Because they can grab onto multiple spots, they offer incredibly high sensitivity. They act almost like a giant net catching a signal. But then, on the flip side, we have monoclonal antibodies, or MBABs. Because these come from just a single isolated B-cell clone, they are hyper-specific to one defined epitope. So you get extreme specificity with almost zero background noise. Historically, scientists had to use animals to make these, and this is a huge game changer. Today, modern therapeutic monoclonal antibodies can actually be made recombinantly in mammalian cell cultures, like CHO cells. That means we can completely remove animals from the production process. And the way they pull off that animal-free production is through something called the phage display method. It is so clever. Step 1. Scientists take a massive pool of antibody fragment gene sequences, basically a giant DNA library, and they insert them into bacteriophages. Those are just viruses that specifically infect bacteria. Then, step 2, these phage vectors infect a suitable host bacteria. And step 3, those bacteria basically get turned into microscopic factories. They start pumping out the encoded antibody fragments and literally display them right on the phage's outer protein coat. The absolute genius of this whole setup is that scientists are able to link the genotype, the DNA instructions hidden inside, directly with the phenotype, the physical antibody displayed on the outside, all within a single phage particle. This lets them systematically screen and handpick the perfect, highly specific candidates out of literally billions of options. Mind-blowing, right?
All right, moving on to part 2, A, B, optimizing the web, the science of digital conversion.
Okay, so leaving the microscopic battles of the bloodstream behind, we are resetting and jumping straight into the digital realm, A/B testing. It's a method where you directly compare two different versions of digital content to see which one actually performs better. It is literally the bedrock of what digital marketers call CRO, or conversion rate optimization. The whole philosophy here is that you aren't just crossing your fingers and guessing what users want, you're actively testing it in real time. Maybe your goal is getting more newsletter signups, or pushing more app downloads, or maybe you just want to lower your bounce rate, when people land on your site and immediately click away. Whatever the goal, A/B testing gives you the hard, concrete data you need to make the right design choices. Now, testing two versions of a web page might sound super simple, but it actually requires a pretty strict scientific method. It usually breaks down into 6 steps. First, you research your current performance, just to see what's broken or underperforming. Second, you formulate a testable hypothesis. So for example, I bet changing this add to cart button from blue to red is going to increase clicks. Third, you design the experiment. And this is key, you make sure you are only testing that one single element. Fourth, figure out your sample size and time frame. You have to let the test run long enough to get real data. Fifth, you actually build out the variance. And finally, step 6, you run the test, making sure to serve the different versions to your audience completely at random to avoid any bias.
The absolute most crucial takeaway here is the strict separation between your control and your variant. Your control is the baseline. It's the original web page exactly as it exists right now. The variant is your modified version, and it absolutely must contain just one single, isolated change based on your hypothesis. Think about it. If you change the button color and you change the headline and you swap out the background image all at the exact same time, well, if conversions shoot up, you have literally no idea which of those 3 changes actually drove the success. By keeping the change completely isolated to one variable, you guarantee that any spike in user engagement can be confidently attributed to that one specific tweak. Part 3. A/B. Structuring Swedish Business. The Mechanics of the Aktiebolag. So let's take a massive pivot from digital marketing over to international corporate law. We are looking at the Aktiebolag, usually just abbreviated as capital A, capital B. It's simply the Swedish term for a stock company or a limited company. It's the exact same thing as seeing Corp, Ltd, or Inc. on a company name. It's governed very strictly by the Swedish Companies Act, and it's vital because it establishes the company and any of its subsidiaries as completely separate legal entities from the people who own them. That separation provides the essential limited liability protection that lets businesses take big risks and grow without the founders having to worry about losing their personal life savings if things go south. And honestly, this is where you'll probably have a bit of an aha moment. Just look at these names. You probably use their apps, play their games, or interact with their tech on a daily basis, but you might never have realized they actually operate under this Swedish AB corporate structure. We've got Spotify AB, obviously a streaming giant, Ericsson AB in telecom, Mojang AB, they're the team behind Minecraft, plus heavy industry legends like Scania and Saab, even huge video game developers like DICE, and massive back-end tech infrastructure like MySQL. They are all, legally speaking, Aktiebolags. To understand how this shapes their corporate landscape, let's look at the financial requirements. In Sweden, an AB is split into private and public companies. To register a public Aktiebolag, which legally gets the tag AB Pub and allows the company to offer shares on the open stock market, you need a minimum share capital of 500,000 Swedish kronar. That is a pretty sharp contrast to a private AB, which has a much lower barrier to entry, requiring just 25,000 kronar. It's a really well-thought-out, structured system designed to scale seamlessly, from a tiny local startup all the way up to a global, publicly traded powerhouse. Part 4. AB Trust. Protecting family wealth, navigating U.S. estate law. All right, leaving Sweden behind, we're crossing the ocean back to United States. Estate planning to dive into an entirely different kind of AB structure, the AB Trust. You might also hear it called a bypass trust or a credit shelter trust. Basically, it's a legal strategy used by married couples. Its main objective is to help families avoid massive estate taxes when they are transferring wealth down to third parties, which usually just means their kids. It pulls this off by splitting the couple's combined assets into 2 completely distinct trusts the moment the first spouse passes away, which takes full strategic advantage of the way federal tax laws are written. Now, here is a wild number that really puts this whole strategy into context: $13.9 million. Under federal tax law, as of 2025, that is the applicable exclusion amount for a single individual, meaning one person can transfer up to $13.9 million to their heirs completely tax-free. Because that threshold has skyrocketed so incredibly high over the last few years, and because current laws let a surviving spouse just inherit their deceased partner's unused exclusion amount, the whole AB trust technique has actually really declined in popularity for your average family. These days, it's pretty much only utilized by the ultra-wealthy, families who have estates easily exceeding those massive double-digit millions. But for the estates that do actually use it, the mechanics are pretty fascinating. When the first spouse passes away, the AB trust immediately splits in 2. First, you have Trust B, the bypass trust. This one becomes completely irrevocable and catches the deceased spouse's wealth right up to that $13.9 million exclusion limit. It effectively bypasses the surviving spouse's taxable estate and flows directly to the final beneficiaries, like the children, 100% tax-free. Then you have Trust A, the survivor's trust. This bucket catches any and all remaining wealth and stays fully controlled by the surviving spouse. The transfer into Trust A is also tax-free, thanks to the unlimited marital deduction rule. It's just a really elegant, highly structured legal maneuver to make absolutely sure double tax exemptions are utilized to perfection. Part 5. The AB Multiverse Connected. Finding the common thread. We have covered a ton of ground today, zooming from biology to corporate law. But when you look at the underlying themes here, the connection between all of them is actually remarkably clear. Whether we're talking about immunology, digital marketing, Swedish corporate structures, or U.S. estate planning, AB consistently represents these core ideas of structure, optimization, and protection through isolation. Think about it. Antibodies isolate and neutralize biological threats. A/B testing isolates web variables to optimize digital performance. Octobiologs isolate financial liability to protect founders. And A/B trusts isolate taxable assets to maximize wealth protection. Across wildly different domains of human knowledge, these two little letters always signal a sophisticated system designed to control variables, ensure survival, and promote growth.
And believe it or not, our sources showed us that this AB multiverse goes even deeper. You've got the abdominal wall muscles physically giving you core support to protect your organs. You have Av, which is a really important month in the Hebrew calendar. Over in global capital markets, the massive firm Alliance Bernstein literally just goes by AB. And even in the music industry, you've got the highly acclaimed hip-hop artist Ab-Soul. It just goes to show how ubiquitous and incredibly varied these two letters are across literally every facet of life and culture.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Now that you've seen the AB multiverse in action, it kind of makes you wonder, right? What other hidden structures, whether they are biological, digital, or legal, are quietly working behind the scenes in your everyday life, completely unnoticed? Our whole world is built on these invisible architectures, just waiting to be understood. So keep your eyes open, stay curious, and hey, thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.